So, spirituality has been rooted in the root of all existence, which is God. Now, why is this connected? And I'm so glad that our professor is here with us to kind of exemplify that, even though he is specialist in obstetrics and gynecology and all that, but also now recognizing that nothing is separate from spirituality. In fact, for anything to be fully successful, you have to necessarily incorporate spirituality. Otherwise, you will feel an emptiness that can never be filled with any amount of money or intoxicants or power. No. That emptiness is in the shape of God. And nothing else will fit in that shape, you see. That is why so many thinkers have thought about society and its discontents. What is that causing? So, let's explore this, like my dear friend Govinda Prem Prabhu explained. The number one ailment today in the world is anxiety, negativity, mental disorders, mental strain, stress. So we're going to talk about that. It's a global epidemic of stress, a spiritual diagnosis. So let's do something interactive, okay? So we're going to do a lab. It's not just a lecture. We're going to sit up straight. Let's all sit up and take a deep breath together, okay? 1, 2, start. In and out. And out. One more time. In and out. Now we feel a little bit at peace. When we are aligned with our body, when we are aligned with nature, when we are aligned with our deep spiritual nature, then it gives us a highly nutritious strength building formula that makes us resilient to the external environment. When I say resilient, it means things happen outside, but you're strong enough to weather the storms. So as medical students, everybody is medical student, pretty much medical, healthcare, medicine, public health. So as students of medicine, you're training to heal the body. But today, the epidemic that medicine cannot always see is this one. So imagine walking through a hospital ward, right? Patients are in beds, monitors are beeping, the doctors are running around, the nurses are running around. Yet behind this, there are some invisible wounds that are deep. Anxiety, fear, dissatisfaction. The World Health Organization calls stress the health epidemic of the 21st century. I said that in itself is very interesting. Does it mean the 20th century there was no anxiety? No, it was there. But in the 21st century, it has taken a next level, epic level of impact. 1 in 4 medical students worldwide experiences severe anxiety or depression. The medical students are among the smartest, the cream of the crop in any country. It's not easy to go to medical school and survive. You all know how hard it is. I don't need to tell you. I see that on my son's face. I have a son, he's about this big. He's 23 years old. He's in 2nd year of medical school. He told me, Dad. I said, what's going on? He said, why did you call me? I said, Dad, I just want to see how you're doing, my son. I said, okay, I have only 2 more minutes because I have to study again. If I waste even 3 minutes, I'll not, make it. So you all know how tough it is. So medicine, but it causes so much stress. Despite all our progress in medicine, in technology, in comforts, in communications, peace of mind remains incredibly elusive. Can't catch it. You're not feeling peaceful. So let's explore stress today, not merely as a biological condition, but a spiritual imbalance. A disease of connection between the mind, or a disease where the connection between the mind and the self is lost, the disconnect. Right? You see, 25% medical students. There's so much imbalance going on. Now, every generation faces epidemics. Get polio, we wipe that out, pretty much. There's HIV, COVID also is not so much, no one worries about COVID so much anymore, right? But our generation faces the one of the mind. Hard to wipe that out. And what makes this crisis unique is it is self-perpetuating. Why? Because we live in a world of constant overstimulation, notifications, deadlines, social pressure. The body is here, but the mind is somewhere else. Not just somewhere else, everywhere else. That is not a good thing. You think you're accomplishing something because the body is here, mind is accomplishing something somewhere else. No, no, no. Learn to bring your mind here where you're sitting. Be present now. You will actually feel a sense of relief. The further we keep our mind disconnected from where we're sitting, the more stress builds up, and you don't even realize it. We think you're multitasking. Multitasking is some of the worst thing you can do. Don't ever do 3 things at a time. You know why? You can never actually do 3 things at a time. Why is multitasking more exhausting? You see, because your mind is like a stage. Like this is the screen, it's a stage or it's a place. There's only one screen. You can only put one image at a time on that screen. Now you think you're multitasking, so what you're doing is you're using the workspace, you're putting one work thing there, working for 2 seconds, taking it off, putting the second thing, working for 3 seconds, taking it off. That taking on and off is so exhausting. And we think we're multitasking by being more efficient. Do one thing at a time. Don't build up the stress for nothing. But it's hard to do that because we just think we want everything. What is the cause of that? Bhagavad Gita, please. What is the cause of that? The cause of that is, believe it or not, a strong desire driven by selfishness. We want to accomplish so many things that are utterly inconsequential in life. Our attention has become the new battleground. So this talk is about diagnosis and treatment. Not through drugs and devices, but through rediscovering our own spiritual nature. Okay. In this book, this is called the Bhagavad Gita. You might have heard of this book. Anybody seen this or heard of this book? Raise your hand. Bhagavad Gita, yes, you have some students who know. Yes, Bhagavad Gita, there's quite a few. This book was written 5,000 years ago. Ancient, time-tested wisdom. In this one, the student is Arjuna and the teacher is Krishna, who is God. And Arjuna, he asks, Krishna, the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong in this ocean. Now what causes this? This restlessness of the mind is not a new thing. Even 5,000 years ago it was there, okay? But modern neuroscience confirms this. They've been doing studies of this because it's so important. This amygdala is a part of the brain, you know better, where, it's connected with a sense of empathy and feeling. But we put it in overdrive and we flood it with fight and flight because we're too stressed out. So much cortisol is produced, you know that. And either we want to fight, we want to run away. But that's not normal, that is survival mode. We cannot keep in survival mode mentally all the time. Can we take a breath? So difficult. Now, we experience stress when the mind dominates the self. So now these are 2 words that we don't normally use too much in medical terminology. The word mind is not that clearly defined. What is the mind anyway? And then now you also bring up the concept of self. I thought the mind is the self. I thought I'm the mind. I thought I'm this body is me. But the traditions of wisdom, like in Bhagavad Gita, they teach us, you are not the body, you are the driver in the car, you're not the car. You can see yourself, you're actually inside, and these eyes are like windows of your car, and you're looking out, and you're controlling this big car, but you're sitting inside. That's how we all are actually. That's why when you look in the mirror, if you remember you looked in the mirror when you're a little child, you saw something different. You're looking through the same eyes, after 10 years, you're seeing something different. But you're the same person inside, isn't it? Don't you feel that I'm the same person? Yes, my face has changed, but inside I'm the same person. That's why even when you grow older, we don't think we're someone else. We're not someone else, we're the same person. Looks are different a little bit. The car is worn out a bit. It's okay. It's part of life. But you're not the car. Similarly, the mind is the faculty of the psyche. That is not you. It's a faculty of the psyche that makes the decisions on what feels good and what feels not so good. You see, the mind is what gets excited about certain things. The mind is a repository of our desires. So if we have desires, we store them in the mind and we try to act on them when the opportunity comes up. Now, to the degree those desires are selfish, to that degree will be an anxiety. To the degree our desires are selfless and rooted in spirituality, where the goal is to serve God, serve others. The happiness that comes from that feeling is unparalleled. And that is what we're seeking. But we're starving ourselves of that by thinking I'll work harder on my selfish desires, where I can enjoy myself. Because I think I'm the body. That's the problem. So we experience the stress when the mind dominates the self. See here? When the mind dominates the self. The mind is the repository of our desires. And if the desires are not pure, or they're not selfish, or selfless, then they dominate the self. And then what happens? We identify with every passing thought. Some desire comes up, I must have this, I'll do everything to run after it. That causes a great deal of tension. We think it's very creative, or now I find a goal I find something to live for. No. Selfish things are not worth running after. That's the point. So, in medicine we study the physiology of stress. You measure the cortisol levels, you measure the blood pressure, you measure the pulse, and you measure so many things. But here, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna teaches the psychology of peace. Psychology of peace. That the mind can be the best friend or the worst enemy. If it's trained properly, it's the best friend. But if you let it run wild, it's the worst enemy. It dominates you, and it actually hurts you in the long run. So who's in charge? The mind or the self? That depends on what you want to do. It's always your choice. So, I mentioned the courses in anatomy are pretty tough. You have to memorize so many things. But today we'll talk about anatomy in just a few words, okay? A few parts of anatomy. Our inner anatomy, what we discuss in inner engineering. We have the body, that's easy, we can see the body, we have it. We have the mind, like I explained. The mind is a repository of desires and the stage on which we work. But the highest thing is the self, the forgotten self, the Atman. We call it Atman. So Bhagavad Gita says in chapter 2, you see the rivers are flowing into the ocean, Krishna says. But the ocean remains at the same level, no matter how many rivers flow into it. So one who is not disturbed by these rivers of desires that keep flowing into the mind, from the mind, that person remains at peace. So if you're more like the ocean, you'll be peaceful like the ocean. See? Sea level does not change even no matter how much rainy season has happened or no rainy season. Sea level remains exactly the same. Isn't it true? Pretty much. What is the height of Mount Kenya? Anyone know? Meters? 5,199, something like that. Meters above sea level. You use sea level as a yardstick for measuring any mountain, Kilimanjaro, whatever it is. That means sea level remains the same. So we want to train ourselves with inner engineering to get to the point where no matter so many desires come in and pull us, run after this, run after that, we have to evaluate, is it worth even entertaining? That is called discipline. And the more disciplined you are, the more like the ocean you become. You become like the ocean. The rivers come, they don't disturb you. Those rivers cause a lot of stress. But if you learn to disregard them, you can be free from the vast majority of stress that comes in. Huh? Think of it like this. See, we are not the mind. We are an observer. So if the mind is here, you can step away. I'm not this mind. I'm not these desires. I'm not this reckless, childlike, monkey-like psyche. And that's not me. Just because I have a desire doesn't mean that's what I am. That's hard to do. You have to step away from it and observe like an external observer. So think of it like this. The hospital ECG, it shows these erratic waves over here. But the doctor is not this. This line on the screen is not the doctor. Similarly, our consciousness is the doctor. The mind is just the instrument. You see, the mind, which has the flickering lines, that's just the instrument. That's not who we are. The doctor is the person, the consciousness. So we don't need to shut off the monitor. We just need to recognize I'm not the monitor. You just need to remember who is watching it. This gives you, believe it or not, if you learn to see yourself this way, it'll give so much power. You'll be able to override the lower impulses, because that's what discipline is about. You're already doing it. The fact that you've come to this point in your career means you already know what discipline is. Very few people make it to this point. So you know what I'm talking about. I'm just putting in a format that you can use and build upon, so that even in the future, you'll always be resilient and maintain the discipline and get great success in whatever you do. Now, there are three roots of modern anxiety. Three things: the myth of control, the comparison trap, and the material dissatisfaction. So, we try to control what cannot be controlled. This is a big part of our stress. What are things we cannot control? Outcomes, people, and time itself. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says something very unusual. He says, you have a right to perform your duty, but not to the fruits. It's the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2. Very unusual statement. What does that mean? If I'm doing my duty as a doctor, or even as a student, right? The fruits are what? The fruits are the grades that I'm going to get. I can get a certificate. Or the fruits are, as a doctor, I'll get a paycheck and get a lot of money. Why am I working as a doctor if I don't have a right to the fruits? Doesn't make any sense. The statement is illogical. And yet this is one of the most quoted verses in the Gita by people in general. What this means is that unless you live a life of selflessness, unless you live for others, this verse will not make any sense. What he's saying is that work to uplift others. Yes, of course, you'll get money from it. You buy food, you go to the market, you buy the food, you feed your family, of course. You buy the clothes, of course. You take a vacation, of course. But that is not what you're actually working for. You see, that is just a small side effect. The actual work that you want to do, the main bulk of the fruit that comes, you want to spend it to uplift others. You see, you'll have enough money to have a house and everything, but then you also have enough money to use your house, to use your facilities, to use your influence in uplifting other people's lives by bringing them closer to their spirituality. That is a good service we do to ourselves, and the best service we can do for humanity. To connect them, remind them of our connection with God, with our spiritual roots. That is called a selfless life. Otherwise, this makes no sense. Remember, the reward for your work is not the thing that you get, but what you become. Are we together? You follow what I'm saying? When you go to the gym and you're lifting the barbells, You pay the gym some fees to use the barbells, but you don't take the weights home. That's not what you're paying money for. You see, you're paying money to take home your muscles. Now you have muscles. You've transformed as a person. So when you do some work, of course you'll get paid and all that. But the real reward is how it transforms you. The doctors have had many years of experience. They know that. Of course, there's good monetary rewards also, no problem. But they've seen the effect their job, their work has had on people. They've seen how much it transformed them, and they get changed. Because the doctor's job is very selfless, for the most part. Isn't it? You're trying to heal others, help others. So you understand what it means to be selfless. But that selflessness has to be rooted in spirituality. Which is, I'm so happy our professor is here. He's a living example of why you feel dissatisfied unless you have some connection to spirituality. So it's so nice. So, control. When we attach ourselves, and the outcome has to be a specific way. If it doesn't happen, I'll be very angry. No. You try your best. Use your full intelligence. But if it doesn't come out the way you want, it's okay. You tried your best. Have you heard of the Serenity Prayer? Anybody know the Serenity Prayer? This is an Alcoholics Anonymous. They said, God, give me the courage to change the things that I can change. Give me the strength to accept the things that I cannot change. And give me the wisdom to know the difference. We have to know the difference between what we can control and what we cannot control. If we have that wisdom, our stress level goes down like anything. The myth of control is gone. Are we together? Have I lost you? Okay. I'm saying a lot of things. But I hope it's clear enough. Another cause of stress, modern anxiety, comparison trap. Especially in social media. People put a version of themselves on Facebook or social media, the best version, all the time. Very few people are fully honest. That's fine, it's okay, it's what social media is about. Look at me, I'm having so much fun. I saw one person posting a picture. She's sitting by the window of an aeroplane and looking out the sky. So I'm going on my flight, I'm going to Italy. It turns out it's just she took a picture of a toilet seat and I put a magazine picture of the clouds behind it. To zoom out. We want to show, look, I'm going to Italy, and then they'll go beyond, what's the issue. We try to put forward, I'm enjoying so much. And then we all end up trying to compare ourselves. It creates a culture of, I am not enough, I need to work hard so I can do just like that. No. Comparison, especially an unhealthy sort of comparison, which is based again in selfishness, causes so much stress because we think that is where happiness is found. Even the person who actually goes to Italy, they're not happy. Trust me, I've been there many times. And the person with the toilet seat also not so happy. And the person looking at the posting on Facebook also not happy. Because we get stuck in this comparison trap. But true success is not measured by position, but by connection. Connection to the divine. To your dharma. Dharma means your spiritual duty. You feel at peace. Your connectivity to God is a measure of your success. And that's between you and God. Nobody else can tell you how close you are with God. You only know. Isn't it? This is something you whisper in your heart. You don't declare it to the world. And then, of course, material dissatisfaction. Today we have so much consumerism. Big billboards. The colorful bottle. Look at this bottle. It is filled with food color, water, sugar, and artificial flavor made from petroleum. Please drink it. You'll be very happy. And charge 100 shillings for a bottle. Guaranteed consumerism is guaranteed to disappoint us. Why? Because it promises happiness, always fails to deliver. Why? Why does it fail to deliver? Because happiness is not found by selfish things that are based on the body. It is found in the heart, the feelings, the selfless service that you do to God, connectivity to spirit. Because we are not the body. See, you'll always be dissatisfied. This body is not a vehicle for pleasure at all. It's a vehicle for service. And that's how you get happiness from it. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is another one of our scriptures, it says the materialist works hard day and night but never becomes satisfied. Why? Because you ask anybody who has succeeded in the world with things, and they'll tell you, none of them in the deathbed will say, I wish I had eaten more. I wish I had driven better cars. No, nobody regrets. What they'll regret, I wish I'd spent more time with my grandchildren. I wish I'd been closer to my brothers. I wish I'd loved other people more. This is what they regret. Learn from people on the deathbed. Why do you have to wait till we are on the deathbed to learn those things? Learn it now. That is the root of spirituality. Don't wait till you're deathbed. You're young. Don't waste the rest of your life. Find happiness now. And help others be happy too. So, question for you. When was the last time you felt complete peace? Take a moment. As future doctors, you know this. The value of preventive medicine. Can we prevent the lack of peace? Prevention is better than cure, isn't it? So I want to ask anybody here. When's the last time you really felt completely at peace? Do you remember that? And what was the reason? Now we make it a little interactive. Yes, please.
Afternoon. My name is Eric. The last time I felt complete peace was when I woke up from my dream and I realized really this life is a game made for everyone and love and praise. Like really, you don't have to stress a lot. Just be still and know that when you've eliminated fear, worry and doubt, you are one with the idea. So you don't really need to worry a lot. Just live every moment. Just be present. Yeah? So don't worry about the past. Just follow your dream. Just serve others. Have a big heart. Those are the things that matter. So me, I consider myself as fear, rejoicing in its perfect stillness, whereby I don't have to worry, fear, or have any doubts. I just believe that as long as I'm helping people, I'm helping myself, I'll keep going. So I don't really worry. I defeated that. So I'm just going.
Wonderful. Makofi.
Wow.
Thank you. Wonderful. See, that's the root. When I woke up from a dream and realized I don't need to be afraid. What is there to be afraid of? If you have realized and understood that the goal is to help others, then God will fill your heart with a sense of satisfaction that you won't feel anywhere else. It's true. So, preventative mental health. What is that? It's habits that keep the mind healthy before the disease starts. You think you're stressed now, just wait till you go in the real world. Yes, of course, passing medical exam is very stressful. But the real world, when the rubber meets the road, when you're actually in the emergency room, and people's lives are hanging by a thread, then you know what stress is about. You train so much as a soldier, but when you actually go in the battlefield, you see the bullets flying. Oh, so many realizations start happening. But if you're prepared with so much fearlessness and having strong faith that what I'm doing is right and it's in line with the timeless wisdom of our scriptures. Not just this scripture, any of our scriptures, they're all timeless wisdom. Then you can face the world without fear. And when you have no fear, you can be focused even in the middle of the battlefield. Okay. So what I'm going to discuss today is one very powerful methodology that has been universally accepted by people of all cultures, called mantra meditation. Mantra meditation has been scientifically shown to lower cortisol. Anybody know what is cortisol? Yes. Medical students. Cortisol.
Stress.
What is it? Stress hormone. Stress hormone. It lowers the stress hormone. It balances neurotransmitters. And it activates areas in the brain that bring calmness. This is not mere philosophy. This is neuroscience meeting spirituality. You see? So we're going to try it. We talk about mental and preventative mental health. So now, have you noticed, doctors, a lot of the time you get some medication, but sometimes doctors say, just rest, it's okay. 2-3 days of rest, don't go to work, don't come out of bed, just rest as much as possible. Our body heals itself. Stillness is a healer. So there's bodily stillness, we lie down, but there's also mental stillness. It's the same way you heal your body by lying down for a few days. You can heal your mind's mental stress by stilling the mind, keeping it still. It's the same rest, it's the same prescription. But generally doctors don't give that. Doctors will tell you, yeah, your cholesterol is up, your blood pressure is up because of stress. But they won't tell you what to do about the stress. Don't stress. You can't just say don't stress. How can you stop stressing, stop worrying? It's not easy. But this mantra, this is a medicine for the restless mind. This mantra, it's a spiritual physiotherapy. You know how we have physiotherapy? When you're injured, to help a muscle regain its strength. It gently realigns the restless mind to the peaceful self. We ever talk about the mind, which is always restless, full of useless desires, and the self, which doesn't really want any of this anxiety? To realign those two, this mantra is proven to still, to create the rest that you badly need. And you connect with the root of existence, which is your true self in the heart, not the mind. So we're going to try this. So please, now we're going to do a little lab work. So sit up straight. We're going to meditate. Yeah, sit up straight. Yeah, don't slump anymore. We're going to meditate and focus. We're going to try to focus the mind. And we're going to pronounce these words. Now, like I mentioned, we have Greek, Hare Krishna, because these words are empowered, they're names of God. And they're so beautifully arranged that it actually aligns our mind and the self. Okay? This is God Himself in the form of sound. This is a mantra that has been sung for thousands of years and has been proven to still the mind. Okay? So we'll say 3 times together. You can read if you have it. I mean, you can read the screen. You can just kind of follow along. We'll say 3 times together. We'll go very slowly. Okay? So focus. Take a breath and chant. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Please say it. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One more time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. So they have done some studies, neuroimaging, that show that mantra repetition quiets the limbic system. I'm sure some of you feel it. You just did 3 times. I'm feeling it just now. Some peace. It quiets the limbic system, which is what we call the emotional alarm center. We're constantly hitting ourselves with alarms. We get alarmed about this, about that. Until the alarms don't even mean anything anymore. We overload it. So this quiets it down. So when it's something actually worth panicking, then it means something. Okay? It strengthens our prefrontal cortex. You know the prefrontal cortex? This is the center of calm and focus. It makes us stronger. So studies have shown this. So each repetition, according to our scriptures and our sages who teach this knowledge, each repetition of this mantra, it polishes the mirror of the mind. The mind is like a mirror. It polishes it, allowing the light of the soul, the self, to shine through. And when you smile, people can see you as a person. You radiate selflessness. And people won't even know why they like to hang out with you. And just being with you. Don't say anything even, it's okay. Just being with you. Why? Because you've allowed the light of your soul to shine through. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Yeah? But that's what this process does. Now, in our Krishna consciousness movement, we have a system that we follow every day. It's called bhakti. Bhakti means devotional service, where we want to serve with devotion. Serve God and serve the mission of God, which is to bring spirituality to everybody. Everybody who will hear, we want to try to share with them. To show that this is a very scientific method. It is not something based on sentiment. It's not something based on superstition. It is something based on science that is replicatable and is democratic. It's open to everybody. It's nothing to do with your language or your traditions. No, it's a science. When you inject someone with a medication, it doesn't matter what language they're speaking, medication will work. So this bhakti system is our daily therapy. What it means is loving connection with the divine. It's a system of this mental and spiritual wellness that provides these things. A sense of purpose, sense of belonging and joy. Because if you belong, if you feel that life has to have a purpose, you'll feel joyful. So 3 components. One is called sadhu sangha, which means associate with others who are very advanced in this, or who are on the progressive path. Find others who are interested in being selfless. Find others who are interested in knowing God deeper. Find others who are interested in actually knowing what love means. And hang out with them. That's what sadhu sangha means. We become like the people we hang out with. Simple. Then another process called Shravana Kirtana, which is hearing and chanting these sacred sounds, specifically the one we just did. We hear about it. We learn the philosophy. We strengthen our understanding and we strengthen our faith. And then seva. Seva means selfless service to others. We want to help somebody else, but we want to give the best kind of help, isn't it? If you see a poor person on the street lying down like this and he says, give me some money. He said, what do you want to do? No, just give me money. And you see around him just some bottles of alcohol. You know, if you give him money, he's just going to drink more. Now if he says, can you buy me a bottle of alcohol? And you say, okay, let me do something selfless. I'll buy him the bottle, he asked for it. No, there is no selfless service. That's foolishness. You're destroying his body, isn't it? You're enabling his self-destruction. So you may think it's selfless. True selflessness means to help somebody become stronger. Help somebody become healthier. Not just giving them what they're asking for, but giving them what they actually need. Isn't it? As a doctor, you should know. If someone needs some morphine, fine, because you know how much they need. But if they keep asking, give me morphine every day, no. The same thing. Similarly, the most selfless thing you can do is to help others reconnect their mind with the self and reconnect the self with the root of all existence, God. Then that strengthening connection will make them whole individuals. It'll make you happy, it'll make them happy, and it'll uplift all of society. That's what is called seva. Selfless service to others. True selflessness. Are we together? A little bit? Okay, so I'm going to end with this. God, Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, surrender unto me, I will deliver you from all anxiety. What that means is that when we recognize the presence of God in our lives, we recognize that I need to reconnect with my love with God. The clarity and peace that arises from that makes us free from anxiety. Then, when we go out and face the world, the strength, the fearlessness, and the resilience that we really need to weather the storms, the ups and downs of life, we'll find it. We'll find that energy. Because we are connected, we are plugged in. See, right now this is plugged in. We are plugged into the source of all energy. So when we need energy, we can draw on it. But if we are disconnected, we cannot draw on it. Krishna says, when your intelligence is connected with me, with God, deeply, your intelligence, then you'll find peace. If it's disconnected, there'll be no peace. And he says, Ashantasya kuta sukham. Without peace, where is the happiness? You see, you can't even enjoy some ice cream if there's sand in your socks, because there's no peace. You can't even enjoy life if there's anxiety. So first find peace by connecting with God. It's a simple thing. You can say a prayer to God first thing in the morning. Be thankful to God. My God, my dear Lord, thank you for giving me another day to live. When you have gratitude for God in the morning, instead of waking up and saying, oh dear, what am I supposed to do now? That's not a good way to start the day. Start the day with names of God instead of some bad words. Sometimes people, they look at the clock and they say bad words. The first thing come out of the mouth, some bad words. It's true. Do we want to live that life? No. We have to have a culture or habits of doing something positive. Start your day with the right tone. Thankfulness to God. So Krishna says, surrender to himself, surrender. Remember God wherever possible. Thank Him for His existence in our life. Do pure-hearted things for others. Try to understand what it means to be truly selfless. Okay? And I'll end here. In a storm, we see the waves are uncontrollable. But the diver, deep down below, feels only calm. You see? When we live on the surface, chasing grades and fame and control, we are tossed by waves of anxiety. Because you're on the top, but when we go deep down, you see, we want to go deep down here, where deep in your soul, in your heart, where the connection of God exists. Then you don't even hear that storm is happening above. It's happening, but it doesn't bother us. Because we don't live there, we live here. When we dive inward through chanting, through reflection, chanting means like prayers to God, and service, we touch the calm depth of our soul. That's where we live. That's our true home. Peace is not something we must create. It is something we must remember. We must remember it's down here. All you have to do is remember. We have access to it all the time. Okay. So try this 1 week, just 5 minutes a day, please. Try it for a week. You'll see it makes a big difference. Sit quietly, breathe, and chant Hare Krishna mantra. Just 5 minutes. 5 minutes maximum. Sit up straight, chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. 5 minutes. Try it. You may discover that the peace you seek has been within you all along. You'll find this immense sense of peace. A lot more details can be discussed on this. We have these books back here on the table over there. We have Dan and Priya Govinda Prabhu who can help you with any questions if you have on the books. So those are available. We just did a program similar like this, the main campus, and these books are selling like hotcakes. We gave this similar presentation and they loved it so much. So I hope you can take some books. But before we go there, if anyone has any comments or questions, you can take it now. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed what we discussed today. I want to thank you for your kind attention and your valuable time. Hare Krishna. So any comments or questions, please? Just raise your hand. We have another microphone. Anyone? Anyone? Any comment? Professor?
Thank you very much, Gurudev, for this excellent session. Looking at this slide, it's a peaceful slide, and the one before that was a stormy one, the stormy sea. So you asked us to dive deep when you are in the stormy sea, where you will find peace. So what does this diving deep mean?
Yes, good question. How do you actually do it? So, just like we talked about rest for the body, we need rest for the mind. And so diving deep means just put aside the tensions of the day on a separate table. Give yourself some time after putting aside the tensions. You take the tension, you put it here, but tell them, I'm coming back just now, don't worry, I'm not going to leave you. Because you feel stressed if you leave them, you know. So you take all your worries, put it on the side, and you come over here, and you dive deep inside, and you find that connection with God by mantra meditation, by deep reflection, by deep study on these higher values. And then after that, you have the healing happens. That's in the deepness. Then you come back, you take on the stresses, the deadlines, everything, you work on them. But you'll work on it, you'll have so much fresh energy. You'll be able to cut through it much faster. You'll be able to process it much faster. You see, because you have to come up to the surface also deal with this nonsense, right? But you have to take a break down there. Live where that is in your mind. Yes? Okay, thank you.
Will journaling help?
Yes, that's part of reflecting. When I say chanting, praying, and reflecting, reflecting means you think deeply. And sometimes when you write it down, it helps you think through certain things. So that if you're into that, it is a very powerful methodology. Even journaling by hand or just writing a blog or something for yourself to keep track. It's a very good way because it makes you think more deeply when you want to write it down. Yes, yes, thank you. Professor.
Thank you so much. I don't know how to do it. You say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Perfect.
Thank you so much. I think I want to say that I agree completely with what you have said. And I have known spirituality mainly from the academic viewpoint. And the biggest problem that we get when we discuss it is the distinction between spirituality and religion.
Yeah.
But I keep on saying that religion is already incorporated in spirituality. So spirituality contains that. And I see it as the connectedness between the things, creations, events in the universe. And we look at the supernatural as the ultimate source of all knowledge. And in spirituality, we are actually drawing abstract knowledge from the supreme, and then using it through beliefs in order to create circumstances of our life. So in the process of the academia, we came up with a theory called Nice Theory for Self-Empowerment. And what that theory says is beliefs empower persons to overcome fear, worry, hopelessness, and helplessness. And they don't create circumstances of their life. So as you said, it's the process that is most important. It's not the circumstances, but the process of reaching the circumstances. So out of that theory, we have created tools which we are now trying to verify and collect data to see whether we can convince what the academia wants, what you call evidence-based actions. So we have set up a spirituality center in MTRH here and Moy University. They are supporting us. We call it the Clinical Pastoral Education Unit. And we train chaplains who then connect with communities and help to promote health. So I think one day we should just probably work together.
100%.
I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Wonderful. I love the way, thank you, Professor. I love the way you framed it. There's religion and there's spirituality. And then there's an academic view of religion and spirituality. One is from practitioner's point of view. So imagine this. Imagine spirituality is like honey. And religion is the bottle or the jar in which it's stored. You see. You need the bottle to transport it. So whatever religious framework you have, you see. But the honey is what? The connection, the selfless connection with God. And you feel it. Now you have the jar, and before different religions, they look different. Like maybe one is a square jar, one is oval one is a round one. But the honey is the same. Spirituality is the same. The container may be different shapes, different colors. Now, and academics, what they do, they describe the jars in detail. They even describe the honey in detail. And you can write theses about it with abstracts and full, like get PhDs on it. Isn't it? You can get PhD on the honey itself, or on the different shapes of the jars, different types of lids. But unless we taste the honey ourselves, all that remains is just papers. You follow? Until you take up the practice, you feel its impact on your own self. We'll end up just looking at the bottles, admiring them, glorifying them, writing papers about them, doing research on them, but you don't taste the honey, even one spoon. That is a travesty. You follow? we have to take it for ourselves too. So to be connoisseurs of spirituality means embrace the practice. Drink deep from the nectar of spirituality that's found here. At the same time, it doesn't mean you cannot be an academic. Just because you are tasting the honey doesn't mean you can't now still also be an academic about the honey and the jars and compare the different shapes. The comparative religion is what? You compare the different details of how different groups of people express their spirituality. That's all it is. Interfaith dialogue, comparative religion, why you dress a certain way, why you talk a certain way, why you eat a certain way, why you sing a certain way, you dance a certain way when you're praising God, why your houses of worship are built in certain shapes, but the honey is the same. The honey is there as long as you're sincerely trying to connect with God. You follow? So don't deny yourself the joy of drinking that honey. Get into it now because that honey has healing properties. It's also very sweet. It will give your life worth meaningless. Please, turn it on. Flip it up. Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to sit on this question, but let me ask. I'm a big fan of Steve Jobs, and sorry, I'm a big fan of Steve Jobs, and looking at his creation of Apple, he spent quite a while in India at the Hare Krishna temple and all that. So he talks of it. So my question was, in his creation of Apple, he was talking of the mind, the computer, the laptop, and the bicycle of the mind. And now we also have this realization that the hand, the visible part of the brain. So with the evolution of the internet and the laptops being at the classrooms and every of the settings, we get to have so much distraction. We're really distracted by the apps and all that. So should we focus on journaling more, and how is the future gonna be as the session is about the mind and all that. So how can we really strike that balance between the understanding that the mind is the we know that the mind is the master. Now, with this theme of the laptop and computer and all these AI and stuff being the bicycle of the mind, really cranking up things, and now the hand being the visible part of the brain, and then the keyboard abstracting that visibility of the hand. So how do we in aligning with also the discussion today, so how can we strike the balance so that we're not really too far from the bicycle of the mind until we're not too far from the hand being the visible part of the brain? So I guess it's a question that I wanted to sit on, but seems like this session can provide quite a good context.
Yes, thank you very much. It's a good point. Steve Jobs, amazing. It's unfortunate he passed away at such a young age. He gave a commencement speech, by the graduation, he gave a speech. And in that speech, he said that I'm very thankful for the Hare Krishna temple. Because when he was in college, there was once a week he would walk 7 miles, 12 kilometers and 15 kilometers. Once a week, every Sunday, he'd walk that many kilometers because that's the one meal he knew would be a good, solid meal. You see, in Hare Krishna temple, you come, you get every Sunday solid meal. He said that helped me pull through college. So he's grateful for Hare Krishna, because he'd also been to India and explored these things. And he extended this, that the computer and all that is a bicycle of the mind. The main point to understand is there is the hand, like he said. Hand is extension of the brain. The brain is actually still a physical manifestation. The brain helps us regulate so many things, neurotransmitters and so on. It controls hormonals and things like that, right? You know better. But the physical manifestation of ourselves, which is this body, is not our actual self. That we know. Just like the bicycle is not the actual person sitting on the bicycle. Body is not our actual self. Now, as Govinda Prem Prabhu was explaining earlier, we have the gross body and the subtle body. The gross body is what we can operate on, we can put medication on. The subtle body, it's like hardware and software, you see. Subtle body is a software. You can program it different ways. The subtle body consists of the mind, the intelligence, and the ego. The ego is that part we cannot really control. It's what I think I am. It's very strong. It's identification. What do I identify with? That's called the ego. The mind, I explained earlier, is the repository of our desires. And that can be changed. Just like software can be reprogrammed. You can put in different variables in software. You see? The intelligence is a combination of the software and the hardware, where intelligence allows us to make, to do reasoning things, to reason things out. Even the mind says, okay, today we go to the bar. Intelligence says, no bar. We have exam tomorrow. So now the mind wants to enjoy, but the intelligence says no, because intelligence is trained. So that's also not the self. Intelligence can be realigned. What is the self then? The self is the operator of the computer. You see? The operator is not the computer. It's not the software. It's not the hardware. It's not the electricity flowing through. The self is completely independent. So that is you. You see? And so we have nothing to do with that. But we use the computer for certain outcomes. So we use our body, we use our mind, we use our intelligence to align ourselves so that the outcomes are what? Outcomes are genuine happiness and genuine peace. That's why the analogies you gave are very good. The bicycle, the hand, the brain. It's very good for us to think in terms of those analogies. Very useful. In fact, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives similar analogies. He says, like a chariot. You see, there's horses that are pulling the chariot. So the horses, the 5 horses, the 5 senses of our body. And the reins, the leather straps that pull the horses, that's the mind.